y'all, this is Pam at Pink Dragonfly Wings, and we are here to do another video for Wondrous Wednesdays. And what we're going to make today is this little folio. It's very simple. It has no pages in it, but it does have a writing pad in it. Writing pad in it. And it's got about 20 sheets of paper in here, and I'll show you how I made this. Then on this side, it's got a tag here, and a little tag up here at the top. And you can use the little tags for whatever you want to use them for. It really doesn't matter. Put that right down there, and we use the red bows. I don't usually use red just because I love red. Red is my favorite color, and I use lots of red in decorating my home and all of that kind of stuff. But it seems like when I come to my crafting, I don't use red a lot. I don't know why, if I just don't think about it or what, but I did this one in red, and I think it just turned out really cute. So, and then we tied it with just a piece of sari silk, and I buy this online, usually on an Etsy store, and it is recycled sari dresses. They cut the silk apart and sew it together and make these huge long strips, and I use it for all kinds of things. But it makes a really nice little tie because it's soft and pretty easy to work with. So we're going to make one of these today, but we're going to do this one in blue. Now, what I used to start with are 2 envelopes. They are 8 1/4 by about 4 1/8, and I bought these at the thrift store, and they came in a package with a bunch of photo paper stuff. And I don't know what I did with that, but I thought, well, surely I can use this for something. I don't know what I did with the package it came in. It was just a plain, like, kind of a baggie, not a baggie, but a store baggie. But, well, whatever. Anyway, and it had all these pieces of photo paper that would go in here, so it looks like maybe it was that one. It was supposed to be like those postcard things you send at Christmas, where you can make your own postcards and put a picture on it and all that, and then put it in the envelope. So the photo paper fits inside this envelope, but that's not what I'm using it for. Anyway, I got it at the thrift store, and I got all of this stuff for like 50 cents. So I thought, for 50 cents, I can figure out how to do something. So what we're going to do is take our envelopes, and we are going to insert this one inside that one so that we make like a little open booklet. Okay? So we're going to glue this one in. So let's try gluing it. Yeah, on the right side. That was the right side. And we're just going to glue this flap. It doesn't take a whole lot of glue, just enough to hold the flap inside the envelope. And then we're going to slide this in right to the top of the envelope so that the envelopes fold. We want them to fold like this. Okay? Let me find my little... I never can find that thing. My bone folder, because we're going to use that in a minute. Make sure we've got them folded relatively even. I have found that all envelopes, even if you buy them in a set, are not all exactly the same size. They're slightly different. And I guess it's in the folding process that it changes it a little bit. But, okay. So we're going to leave that, turn it over, and glue this flap down. And like I said, we're going to cover it so it doesn't take a lot of glue, just enough to hold hold this down so that it doesn't come flying up sometime. And glue it, press it down real good so we make sure we've spread our glue around. Use your bone folder if you want to. And we have a little 2-page folio type thing. Okay. So, now the next thing that we did, and I did it ever so slightly, and I apologize that I have to keep bending down and getting my cutter, but I have no place to put it. So, make sure this is in the center. We're going to open this up, and ever so slightly, we're going to cut off just a little strip here, and it's just enough to open up these sides. Let's see if I can prop that up right there. I won't have to bend over every time. So when we cut that, because these are not glued down, they're going to be flopping a little bit. That's okay. We don't really mind them flopping. All right. So turn it over to the front. This is our front, and we're going to get a sheet of paper and cover it. I'm going to measure this. I never measure it evenly, and no matter how much I measure and how much I mark, it comes out wonky, but that's okay. So we're going to cut it right there. We want just a slight, very slight white edge around the edge, and we're going to cut it right here. And then look at our cutter. That works so much better. And we're going to line it up with that little mark that I made and cut and make it as straight as we can. Hold it down. Cut that off. We save our little pieces because you never know when you need a little piece. Just a little piece of paper. And so I keep all these little pieces. And then we're going to measure. Now see, there we go. Do my best. Probably could have cut the other one at the same time because the two envelopes are the same size. Let's go ahead and cut that one while we're cutting, just because that'll save us from having to cut and get the cutter and do all of that again. So let's slide this in right here and line that up very nicely. Save our piece. Turn it around. Hold this. If you hold this little thing down real good, it really makes sure it does. You know, it's just like kids. Every time you try to praise, they act up ugly. So, okay, so now we have our two pieces cut. This one is going to go on the outside. And we will glue it down just like that. This one will go on the inside. Just like that. Okay? So we're going to fold it in half. We'll fold this one in half. Crease it with our bone folder that we can never find. There's the other one. See, I lost the second one now, but I found the first one again. And then we'll do this one. Now, put that right there, and maybe I can see it. Put that over there for the moment. All right, so we're going to do our outside paper first. And we're going to glue it on here. And try to even it up. Okay. It's going to fit just like that. So the first thing we're going to do is ink it. And we're going to ink it all the way around. And We don't have to worry about the inside because the inside's going to be laying down, going to be hidden, so we don't have to worry about that. The back of this, I can see that I didn't get it terribly even. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to mess with it at this point. It's a smidgen off. And for me, a smidgen is good because it's usually wonky. So, alrighty. Now then, open this up. And we're going to put our glue on the paper instead of on this. We don't want to do it on the envelope. We want to do it on our paper. So we're going to go right around the edges. All the way around. Make sure we get our corners good. And around and around. We want this whole thing covered with glue. And every time I do this, I do it differently. But we do want to make sure that the center where the crease is glued really well, because it's going to get a lot of wear and tear because you're going to be opening and closing and opening and closing. So we want to make sure we get lots of glue on that center. And make sure our paper is right side up. Make sure our envelopes are right side up. And then we're going to just glue it down. Hopefully straight. Very good, very good. Bone folder. Put it in a good spot. So we're going to spread that glue under there a bit. And make sure we get our edges really good and glued down. We don't want them flying up later. Now, because I never put anything straight, this has a little bit bigger edge up here at the top. If that bothers you, then you can cut that off and even it up, but it doesn't bother me. So I'm going to fold that, crease it really good with our bone folder. We want this to lay down flat. And then we're going to open it up and do the same thing with our inside page. And we're going to glue it right in here. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is ink up our paper. So we'll ink around the edges. There we go. Allergy season has hit Colorado. So we all have runny noses and just not sick, just allergies. The snow is beginning to melt, so we're beginning to see some rise in the rivers and the plants and all of the cool things that are going to grow. And it just kind of, after having such a long winter, it kind of messes us up a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do here is, this time we're going to glue on the envelope. And the reason that we're doing that is because this part needs to stay open, because we're going to put our shopping list down inside here. So we're going to go around the edges and down. Now this side, all of this can have glue. That is not a problem. So we can do glue on here, but we only want to do a little strip of glue right here to hold this down on both sides. We want our crease on the inside to be good and glued, but we don't want to glue this section right here on both sides. So we're going to go right down like this and right up here at the top. We can glue this section. Just glue it, glue it, glue it. And then we'll put our paper on. And let's move this up just a little bit. There we go. And glue that down really good. And then we'll use our bone folder. Make sure our edges are good and glued down. Make sure our center is glued down. But this little section right in here on both of those will not be. So when we open our pocket, we have, let's see, that's a little wide, but we want this paper to be able to go all the way in. And let's work on that for a second. Okay, there we go. So we've got that done. Now what I'm going to do is, before I do anything else on here, I have this little bottle that, I don't know, crystal light came in or something, but now it's a safety pin holder. And I'm going to measure it right up here. And you measure it wherever you want it to be. And then we're going to get our pencil, which I can never find, so I'll get another one. And we're just going to go right around this to make a little cutout. We can go ahead and cut that out. This is going to be where we slide our writing pad that we're going to put in here. Now, and I'll show you that in just a second, but we're going to go ahead and cut this out so it's not glued together yet or anything. And I'm going to keep this little piece because I'm going to need to measure in a minute. Now we're going to take another little piece here and put a piece in here because we don't necessarily, I mean, it's hidden, but we still don't want it to show. That's a pretty little piece. Let's see. I had left over at some point that I really, really liked the butterfly, but the butterfly is too far down. So let's see. Maybe we can use this piece because it's a little, we may have to cut it off at the bottom, but that's okay. We can do that. And it won't matter that it slides all the way. Oh, almost. Almost. All right. So we're going to cut off just a little bit here at the bottom. We don't have to worry about inking this because nobody's going to see it. We can ink the top because we want the top to blend in with what's already there. So we're going to glue it right here so that it matches on both sides where our paper already was. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put it in there like that. Okay, so before we glue it, let's ink the top of it because we want it to match. And you can go down just a little bit because it may show. We're going to glue this down. Okay. And we're going to slide it all the way in here the way down. You have to do this pretty quick so that the glue doesn't adhere and start sticking and drying before you're ready for it. Come on. Oh, don't stick yet. Not ready for you to stick yet. Okay, we could pull it up a little bit anyway because I want that little butterfly to be there. So, we'll do that. We'll scoot this over ever so slightly. And put it just like that. And then we'll cut this off a little bit right here, just so it matches. We'll cut it like that, because we want our little butterfly to show. And there we go. Little bit. Ink that up again. And then we'll glue this down. And this is just really more for our aesthetics because it's not going to show. We're going to have our little notepad in there. Alrighty. So we have this little edge, and this is going to become important in a minute. So let's go ahead and ink around the edge of the whole envelope so that we get that done. We'll ink around this little opening here. Go ahead and ink that up a little bit. And we'll ink very good. I hope that I can remember how I did this. We're going to go all the way around, and we did not do this side, so let's go ahead and do it so we don't forget, because sometimes things are hard for me to remember to do. Now then, we're going to set this aside for a minute, let it dry, and we're going to work on the inside stuff. Okay, so we're going to let that dry and put our little pieces here. We might need them. Put our ink. Now then, this is our little shopping thing. And what we're going to do, what I did on this is I got some just plain old, this is very thin graph paper. It is 8.5 by 11, so it's a regular size sheet of paper. I took it and folded it in half. And then we want it to fit inside here. So it can be anywhere from, let's see how wide this is. This is almost 4 1/4, but we don't want it to go right up next to the edge. It'll interfere with closing our spine. Okay, so we're going to cut it down. What I did is I folded this inside, and I got 10 sheets, and 10 sheets will give us 2 pages. That'll give us 20 sheets of paper. Excuse me. And then we're going to cut this down so that it is 3 3/4. I would prefer to maybe cut it down a little bit, so let's go to 3 1/2. And it doesn't matter, just 3 1/2. So we're going to center this on here. And want it to be 3.5. So we're going to cut a little bit off at each side. And I did this at the big cutter. So we want our paper to be 8 inches long. So we're going to have this size right here. And we're going to measure 8 inches. And we're going to cut it off. Okay. And then we're going to cut off this edge first, the free edges first, because we want them to be even. So it doesn't really matter. We're going to make it 3.5. So we're just going to cut off some, turn it over, put it back in again, and line it up at 3.5 and cut it off. And you're going to do this for each page, and then you have 2 sheets. Now you can do this. You get 2 sheets for your book out of every grid sheet. So you can put as many pages as you want. You can put 10. I wouldn't go more than 20 because then it starts getting too thick, and this is not going to fold a whole lot. So this little paper is going to fit right in here like this. Give us plenty of room. I like the 3.5 better than the 3.25. So we're going to line all of our papers up that we've cut. And then we're going to cut a little piece of cardstock. Just a flippy little piece of cardstock. And this piece of cardstock measures 3 inches by 7 inches. We're going to center it on the back of our papers here, like so. And then we're going to fold them all together and glue the top of this. And so we're making a little notepad. You see. Okay, so our papers are glued together. So we have a little, put glue on here, and then I put these little clips that a wonderful sewing friend of mine gave me, and they work beautifully. And that's why I made this ahead of time. I wanted that glue to be good and dry, so before we start working on it. So we have that. And now we have our little notepad. Now we're going to put these over here because we're not going to use those. Just wanted to show you how we did it. Now we're going to take another little sheet of our paper, and it's going to have to be a piece that's not directional. And like this piece might work because we're going to fold it over like this and make a little binder, for lack of a better word, little binder. And so I usually cut this about 2 inches. So we'll cut it 2 inches. Doesn't have to be exact, but close. And put our little piece over here. And then we're going to measure it. And I measure it a little long at first, just because. So I'm going to cut right here and make it a little longer. If it's too long later, we can certainly cut that off. That's not a problem. Okay? So we're going to use this little piece. I don't know. This little piece might look kind of nice up there too. Kind of like that. I like that piece better than this one. So fold it in half. Make our crease really good. Now, the crease is not terribly important, but it will become important. So we're going to ink this up really good all the way around. Of course, these edges we're going to cut off, and we'll have to ink again later. So you could just ink the top and the bottom and be fine with it. Or you don't have to ink it all. Inking is certainly a preference. And oops, we're going to have this. We're going to put this as best we can in the center of our notepad. And when we get it glued down, we're going to even this. Let me show you in just a second. We're going to glue this page down first. So let's get this. Let's glue it. And put it under here. Make sure it's even, just so you have a little bit on each side. And fold this over. Evenly would be nice. Evenly always works nice. Okay, so we've got that glued down. Now, this is the tricky part, because we want this back flap to be no wider than this. So that's where this little piece comes in. Okay, so this is as wide as we want it. So we're going to lay this here, and we're going to measure, and we're going to cut up there and measure just like this. And we're going to do it with scissors. We're not going to do it with our cutting machines. And we're going to cut up here, not, oh, maybe 1/8 of an inch from your center seam. Okay. And then we're going to come over and cut it here. And we're going to cut that little corner out. Do the same on this side. And cut that little corner out. Okay. Now then, we can glue this flap down to our cardstock here. And nobody's going to see it, but if you want to make it nice and pretty, you can. And I want to glue just this little section right here so that it'll stick. I'm going to fold this over and fold that over. Okay, make sure it's glued down really good. Take your bone folder and run it right along the edge here. And that kind of makes this a little more squared off at the top so that it fits better. Okay, now then we can take our scissors and cut this little section off. Cut this little section off. Throw that in the trash. I don't keep that little bitty pieces. Go back and we're going to ink our edges. And we're going to ink our top. Okay. Now then, we have a little notepad that's going to slide down in this hole right here. And it will slide all the way down. Let me get it where you can see it. Slide all the way down to the top of that. Now, if it sticks out a little bit, that's cool. We don't care. And we have a cute little notepad to fit in here. Now, you could glue this notepad down because it is going to kind of wiggle a little bit. But I didn't want to glue it because if all of my pages are used up and I want to replace it, then I can just take this cardstock, cut some more paper, and replenish it. So that is still going to wiggle around a little bit, but that's okay. You could use a paper clip. You could use, let's see if I have a paper clip back here. We have a big one. You could decorate it. You could hold this in and fold that like that to kind of hold it steady. And that'll be fine. You can make that a decoration of your little booklet here. Alrighty. Let's do the same thing that we did on our other part to kind of give us a little more room on this spine. There we go. We have a little notebook. Okay. Now, if you remember, let's fold that over just a little bit more. If you remember, we cut this open, but when we glued this down, it glued that together. Okay? So we don't have a pocket back here anymore, but we do have a pocket here. And so we're going to make, let's go ahead and put this back in here. Right down there like that. Okay. And I'm going to put this paper clip on here just to keep these papers from flying up while we're working on this side. Now, we need to work on this side, and we need a little pocket of some kind. And goodness, I have all kinds of little jobbies in here. Now we have a big tag, and that's awesome. That will go in there nicely. Let's see what kind of something we have. All of these have writing on them, so we don't want to use one of those. And these are just really cute little decorations that we can use. But we don't have one that is directional. I guess we could use this. That would work just fine. Turn it up like this. That would work. Let's cut it off just a little bit. See if we have it even with our page. Perfect, perfect. Yeah. We're going to take our little hole punch here, or not hole punch, our circle punch, and put just a little nub in it. And I think I need a new hole punch. That got it good enough that we can cut it out. I think it needs to be sharpened. And I don't really know how to do that. I have tried the aluminum foil trick. That doesn't seem to work. Whatever. Now, if you want to add a little strength to this pocket here, because you are going to be taking things in and out. Let's see if I can find a, that's not very thick, but that will work. And just glue it down to this so that it gives you a little strength, because this is just paper here. So we're going to fold this up, or glue this up. Make sure it's glued pretty good. We don't want it coming off. And then we'll just stick it on here. And cut around. And then that'll make us a nice little pocket. So we'll use and we'll come across here. And let's get our scissors and cut this little nubbin out, since the cutter thingy didn't work. We want it to be even, because this is not part of our pocket. It is simply to strengthen our pocket. So then we'll get our ink and we'll ink around it. And then we'll glue on 3 sides here. Right down our sides. And glue this on right here. There we go. Now we have a little pocket. Alright, we can use our tag, except we're going to have to probably cut this tag off because it is pretty tall and we don't want it sticking out. So let's cut it off right down even with our butterfly and see if that's enough. Because we want it to be covered inside. That works perfectly. So just that little bitty dab. And we're going to get our ink and ink around the edge of this. Now on the prototype that I made, I just used some paper and I covered it on the back with cardstock. I'm not going to do that on this one. It does make it a little thicker, but it also makes your booklet a little thicker. And so you can choose to do that. It depends on the paper that your tag is cut out of. If you're cutting it out of just plain paper, you would certainly probably want something on the back of it. But if you're using cardstock, which this is just printed on a lightweight cardstock, you probably won't need to do anything like that. And I'm kind of a messy inker, so when I get done, you see little splotches here that I've had. So I tend to just put some purposeful splotches on the back of it so those don't show so much. Okay, and we have a pocket or a tag for this little pocket. Now we have this little tag up here, this little pocket up here, and we have some smaller tags, so we can certainly use one of those. And ooh, I like that one with the butterfly in the middle. So let's see how far it will go. It will go all the way down. So we actually could use another big tag. Let's see, it may be a little wide, because actually that works just perfect. And I want this one to kind of stick up a little bit. So we'll put that one in there. Ink up our edges. And I really love dragonflies, y'all know that. But there just doesn't seem to be as much stuff out there for dragonflies. There's bukus of butterfly stuff. Just bukus. But not a whole lot for dragonflies. So butterflies are my second choice. And so I love this paper. Check out Louisa's Etsy store, her YouTube channels, and see what you can find out there, because she's got some absolutely beautiful things. So check her out. Decorate our back and put it right down inside there. Okay, and I want it to stick up just a little bit. So we have that one. Now we could put our little one down in here, and I like that idea. So let's ink this little one up. Put him in here. Now you can buy digitals and use those for this project. You can use paper that you have in your stash. Tags are very easy to make. You make it however wide you want to make it, and then cut off the tops slanted here. You could also use a corner punch and just round them. However you want to do it would be fine. So they're easy to make. I like using the digitals just because things are already done and made for me, and I'm kind of lazy sometimes. So we'll put him right in there. Now on this one, I put the little red bows on everything, but I think for this one I'm not going to do the bows or any kind of decoration there, because I am going to use this in my journal and I want it to be as flat as possible. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. and then have it, you can decorate the front, you can do what you want to. We've got these awesome little squares here, and you can decorate these. Let's see, I cut 2 sets, so I have 2 of everything. And you could do a little decorating like this on the front. And I think that looks very cool. And that keeps everything flat so that it doesn't add more bulk to your junk journal. If you make junk journals and make them like I make them, they can be little chunky monkeys by the time you get done. And what we call an alligator mouth. And so we'll put him right there. And we'll put a little glue on it. And I want him to be straight. Then we'll do this one. And we're going to make this one like this. So we're going to put him right under that corner right there. And we'll put him right under there. And then we'll do this last one. You can decorate these with anything you want to. You can use whatever you choose. Let's raise that up just a little bit because we want it to fit down in here. And have him go at an angle like that one. Let's put a little glue on here. We just want it to make sure that it's on the page. May have to add a little more glue under here since I pulled it up, but that's okay. We have glue. And there we go. We have a finish. Now we could take a little piece of lace and put it right here. Put it on that one. Let's see. Like yay. Now this is some kind of cool lace, and it's got the little binding on the top of it, and so you can cut that off. Let's cut a little bit of it off. And we probably should have not glued this one down as much either, but that's okay. We can pull the edges up. We'll put this little piece of lace right under here, like such. Now, because it's lace, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac, and this is Fabri-Tac glue. I just keep it in this little bottle because I have arthritis in my hands, and when I use the hard bottle, it comes in a hard bottle, my hand just gets really tired. And so I put it in those little bottles and it just works so much better. We'll put this right here under the edge so the edge is kind of covered a little bit. And glue that back down. We have a little piece of lace there. Let's even it up a little bit, Pam. Even it up. Okay, there we go. And we have a really cute little piece of lace there. Now you could put something else up here, but I like that. And I want to leave that. Let's see if we have some pretty sorry silk. Let me see. Here's some that has blue and orange on it, but I don't really want the orange. But I may not have a choice. Let's cut this little section off. And this little section off. And instead of tying it the way we tied the other one, we'll just tie it one way and tie it here in the front and tie it in a little, like a little knot. And that does pick up some of the colors from. Now this could easily slide off. You wouldn't have to keep retying it. So I like that. The orange on the edge picks up the orange in the butterfly. So that's really nice. Let's pull this off, and because we still have something we need to put down here. So what could we put down here? Of course, we have butterflies. Lots and lots of beautiful butterflies. Let's see in my butterfly book if I have one that might be already cut out. And let's see. Don't really like that one for this book. Let's see what else we have. Ooh, this one's pretty. I wonder if that one would, how that one would look. Oh, I like him. I like him there. See if we can find one that has a little bit of orange in it. Oh, here he is. Here he is. That's what we like. That one right there. And we can put him right there and have him hang up just a little bit. But we need to ink him up. And then I had fussy cut these. These are also from Louisa, so I knew the style would probably match. We probably could use a little smaller one, but, you know, let's see if we have a smaller one in that color. I do have one, that one. Might work better. And then maybe we have a little smaller one. Okay, we'll do that one. I'll save him for another project. And because I don't want him to lose his little feelers because they were sticking out. So we'll just ink this one up real quick. It doesn't take but a second. We'll ink up this little one. And we'll get some glue. And this one we don't have to be so careful about not gluing his little feelers because he's going to fit on the full paper. That. And then we'll put this little one and put him right there. And there we go. Cute. Cute, cute. Okay. So we have our book. That's how it's finished off. And we'll put our little tie back on here. Sure we will. Let's maybe try to, we can take that off now because we're through with the paper and put that on there and slide it right back up. Have a little string caught there. go. And there's our book. So, we're finished with that. I hope you enjoyed making that. This red one will be in the drawing at the end of the month, so we'll do that one. This one will go in my journal, and we'll see how that works. And then let's put our butterfly book back up here. So watching my other videos on YouTube, we have 2 coming out, at least 2 every week. I do Monday and Wednesdays, and then every now and then we throw in a little something special. So check them out, see what we're doing, make along with us, craft with us, join in on our giveaways. Please check out my online store as well. It's at www.pinkdragonflywings.com. And we just added a bunch of pieces of lace and appliques to the store. So go in and see what you like. And we'll see you next time. Bye.